My tongue is blue. Don't worry about that.
Are you sure about that?
Listen, latest chapter One Piece. Boom. Vegapunk is revealed to the masses. But of course, quote Vegapunk. We'll call for the time being Vegapunk 02. Many folks agree that this is not the real Vegapunk. This is someone else or something else. And the question is, ultimately for this video, who is Vegapunk 02? Now, the reason why a lot of folks agree that Vegapunk 02 is not the real Vegapunk per se is because, number one, we have seen in the past Caesar Clown, Fujitora, Frankie, and various other characters refer to Vegapunk as male, particularly as an old man, number one. Number two is that we actually have a Caesar Clown flashback in chapter 684 when Caesar Clown is on the verge of creating the weapon that ultimately destroys Punk Hazard, that Vegapunk actually stops him in this flashback, at least tries to. And in the chapter, it is a silhouette and we can't gather much, fair enough. But in the corresponding anime episode 610, we do hear Vegapunk speak. And when they speak, they sound like a male. M-A-L-E, not M-A-I-L, male. XY chromosomes. That's what I gather. So, based on these facts in the story prior to this chapter, who is this young woman? Who is Vegapunk 02?
Dr. Vegapunk, 世界最大の頭脳を持つ男.
So there are three, I think, really solid answers on who is Vegapunk 02. And then there's about four weird ones. Like, wait, hold on. Is that really a choice? And yeah, they are options. They are possible given Oda's writing. But they're still, again, they're still weird. So, but we'll get there. First, the solid picks. Number one, Vegapunk 02 is, simply put, Vegapunk's daughter. Now, it is possible that what we see on her chest is actually her name, Vegapunk 02. And it's not, let's say, Vegapunk the second. It's a weird name, duh, with a 02 actually in the name. But at the same time, if someone like Elon Musk can name their child after a transformer, someone like XEA Alpha 12 Centauri, whatever it's called, right? If we have that in the real world, then it's weird as all hell. I can expect a 02 to be someone's name, actually unironically. That's the first thing. Second thing, of course, is that she has inherited Vegapunk's genius skills. That is very, very obvious. And of course, the all-encompassing One Piece question of, wait, who's their mother? Obviously would be in folks' minds. The answer could be someone of no importance, particularly if Vegapunk 02 is a genuine test tube baby. But if Oda feels the need to reveal them, then Oda will do so. And Vegapunk 02 speaks in the same cadence as an older person because that's who they've been around with, let's say, for most of their lives, their father, Dr. Vegapunk. So that is, I think, very likely and I think very, very possible. Maybe Vegapunk 02 acts as the voice of an older male.
Hey, Steve.
Which would be wild as hell, but none of the strats note to that at all. And you may wonder now, hold on now, Vegapunk has the time to go out and elope and fornicate? Yeah, I suppose so. They're still ultimately human, right? I mean, even Judge had 5 kids with Sora, but ultimately it's done in the name of scientific progress. Don't expect any chocolates on Valentine's Day or any wholesome birthday wishes and parties. So Vegapunk could have gone down and dirty, fair enough, but I'm willing to bet not for your typical reasons. So again, number one here, I think a good choice is, simply put, the daughter of Vegapunk. Number two is a female clone. This is a female clone of Vegapunk himself. So we know that cloning is going on somewhere on Egghead Island. The Seraphim are there. And if the Seraphim are there, and them, let's say, in theory, being Warlord clones, all of them, fused in with Lunarian DNA, then we know that cloning is going down. And the SSG base is also probably on Egghead. So there is a good chance here where Vegapunk can actually make various clones of Warlords, Lunarians, and of course, himself. Why not? He has the equipment already on Egghead Island. In fact, we can go even beyond that and say that the entire SSG clique themselves, they could be some of the same lads that we saw in the 684 chapter during the Caesar Clown flashback. Yes, but it could also genuinely be various clones of himself, hence the special in SSG. What makes them a special science group not just a regular science group, is because this group consists of other clones of himself, Dr. Vegapunk. Whether they're male, female, chimpanzee, crocodile, giraffe, it doesn't matter. They're all going to be versions of himself. There are options there without a doubt. And all of them super geniuses like Vegapunk themselves. After that, number 3 is going to be Android, like an Android 17 or 18 from Dragon Ball Z. Simply put, Vegapunk 02 is Automata, like near Automata, like 2B status, made by Vegapunk. And there's actually some onus for this in the story itself. Remember Vegapunk's home island, the island of Karakuri, where Frankie goes to for his time skip training. That's actually not the first time we see that island. The first time we see that island in the manga is in the NL cover story. Of course, NL content is best content. In chapter 448 with an old man named Tsukimi. And Tsukimi actually builds these automata, these robots, on Karakuri Island. Their names are Spacey, Cosmo, Galaxy, and Macro. And they all go to the moon for the NL cover story. So if Tsukimi, a fellow countryman of Dr. Vegapunk, can make automata not like the kind of mindless and simplistic pacifista, but robots that are far more emotive and express themselves as if they were normal living creatures, then Vegapunk could likely do the same thing. So the 02 on the current Vegapunk's chest that we see, that could indicate that she's a creation of some kind, just how other designs that Vegapunk has created are also numbered. So these, I think, are the 3 really solid options on who is Vegapunk 02. But now we gotta get weird.
Oh yeah.
I've seen some weird theories out there, and I might as well mention them because they're possible. I'm not gonna throw out some crazy, like, this is no way in hell gonna happen, but at the same time, knowing Oda and how many drugs he takes on a regular basis, sometimes the weirdest options are the best options. And here are 4 weird as hell options. Number 1, Vegapunk is a tontata that is inside a mech, and the mech is Vegapunk 02. Now, if that sounds crazy, because we do have this Vega Force giant iron robot, the number 12 on it, and then that giant robot is being controlled by another robot in Vegapunk 02, the girl that we see. It's almost like those Russian Matryoshka dolls, where it's a doll within a doll within a doll within a doll. It's like that. We have a pilot who is Vegapunk, like a Gundam pilot, who is piloting a Gundam, this girl, who is actually piloting another bigger thing. It's it's weird. It actually has some sprinkles of Tengen Toppa vibes. Where at the very end, the scale is so big, you have mechs literally piloting other mechs. So this could be the case here with Vegapunk. Though it seems very unlikely because Vegapunk's home island, Karakuri, is a place full of humans. There are no dwarves in sight. The first time we see dwarves is in the New World on Greenbit. So it seems unlikely that it'd be a tontata that's actually inside of Vegapunk 02. But potentially possible. After this for the weird, number 2 is going to be, it's actually not necessarily that weird per se, but I think very unlikely, which is Vegapunk has consumed a devil fruit that has turned them into this young woman, somehow, some way. So the core of the idea is, simply put, Vegapunk is going to tell us, enlighten us, the readers, on exactly what devil fruits are. Oda hinted as much in SBS Volume 48. And knowing how Vegapunk is a bona fide specialist at devil fruit related stuff, considering how Vegapunk can even put devil fruits inside of inanimate objects, and made Kaido's ability, albeit a pink dragon rather than an azure dragon. So, okay, if this is the case, is it possible that Vegapunk themselves also consumed the fruit that has turned them into a younger woman somehow, some way? If it's not an illusion-based fruit, it could be a human fruit, another model human fruit that would create this girl, which would be, who knows? It is still pretty far out there, but at the same time, it is rooted in the core of Vegapunk, you could argue in many respects. And also, if it is a human fruit, that's in lockstep with Chopper and Luffy, who are where right now? On Egghead Island. Maybe. Let's wait and see how that rolls in your future. After that, number 3 for weird is Vegapunk. Oh boy. Vegapunk has transferred his brain and personality somehow, some way into a new body, like Orochimaru style.
Huh?
That one's weird. That one's weird. Here's the thing. We know that Vegapunk can dabble in memories and brains, obviously, because of Bartholomew Kuma. Kuma is now a bona fide cyborg, and Kuma can no longer think the same way as they used to in the past. A lot of folks actually argue that Kuma is nerfed as a result of those brain modifications. So is it possible that Vegapunk could harvest their own brain and put their brain into a newly created female body? Maybe? Maybe let's say instead of brain harvesting, like actually opening the skull, removing the brain, maybe instead of that, it's something akin to what Robot did in Invincible, where you like link up some connectors and then you take Robot's like body, that weird messed up body, and then you transfer it to like a better body. Something of that sort, which maybe could be the case. But then why a young woman, Vegapunk?
You're weird!
You know what? To each their own, I suppose. But that one I would have questions for. But it'll be a new body, and it'll be the second body of Vegapunk, hence 02 for Dr. Vegapunk. Possible, weird as all hell, but possible. And then finally, along those steps, weird, but possible, the entire body is actually Vegapunk's original body. But it is so teched out, it is so cyberpunk Edge Runners, completely modifying every aspect of his body, from the spinal cord, to the legs, to the hips, to the private parts. Everything is so teched out with cybernetics that he, as a result, is now a young woman. They are now Vegapunk 02. That is weird as all hell. Possible? We've seen some weird stuff with tech and cybernetics. Like, for example, Queen, as a brontosaurus, can leave their own body and become a snake? So is it possible to where you can tweak your body so much to where you look like a young woman? I suppose so. But from then on, the biggest question is, how is Vegapunk not a cyber psycho? Vegapunk's gotta be a cyber psycho from Edge Runners. Or maybe their brain's just so big, they can just be teched out up the wazoo and never lose their sense of self. So these are the weird options. I gave you 4. There's probably a lot more, yes, but I want to stick with a solid 3. Daughter, female clone, or android. The rest, use your imagination.